To practice color, I'm going to open up this practice Photoshop 2 file, but before I do that, I'm going to open up this practice file as a smart layer that we can go back and edit by hitting Shift and choosing Open Object. Now, if I go to this photo, practice Photoshop 2, open it up, you can right-click it, or you can easily just drag it into the Photoshop icon on a Mac, and that opens up Camera Raw. This photo is cool for color because it has a little bit more interesting colors in it with these succulents. For color, you have saturation and vibrance. Saturation is the overall color of the entire image, whereas vibrance is a smarter way to increase colors. So you can see if I drag saturation all the way to the left, it becomes black and white. If I drag all the way to the right, it gets super colorful. All the colors get more vibrant. Vibrance will increase the saturation of mostly greens and blues, and it won't increase as much the saturation of yellows and oranges. Why is that? This is good if you are editing portraits. Let me actually go ahead and open this image as an object. Now, when you have multiple projects open in Photoshop, they appear as tabs up here in this big window that you can tab between. I actually don't want to open this photo because there's not much color in it. So I'm going to open up this photo with Sam with some more color in it to show you. So in Photoshop, File, Open, choose that photo, Open as Camera Raw. This photo actually has the same settings we applied to it before. That image is saved, or that information is saved. So let's click this little line button over here and choose Camera Raw Defaults so that it resets everything. So with saturation, if we increase this, you can notice that while Sam's shirt starts to look really nice and blue, Sam's face starts to look really orange. And that's why saturation isn't good to use. Vibrance, on the other hand, if I bring up vibrance, his shirt gets really colorful, but his face doesn't get as orange as when using the saturation slider. So that's just one thing that I would note is if you are adding saturation to an image with people in it, use vibrance. Sometimes what I'll do is even increase the vibrance and decrease the saturation a little bit so that we do lose a little bit of saturation in the face to combat the increase in vibrance. So that's just one note. If you're editing photos of people and want to increase the saturation of those images, use the vibrance slider instead. While we're here, I'll mention the clarity slider. This will increase the detail of an image. So see if I increase this, it's becoming more quote unquote clear. Now with portraits, it gives it a very sort of grungy style, and you can see Sam, you can see all the details, which might be a style you like. Going the opposite way will make everything soft and sort of dreamy. Increasing clarity is usually something that I do with landscape or nature photos because you can really tell if it is a portrait and you're increasing too much. So I would be careful of increasing clarity too much unless you really like that style. All right, so those are the basic color adjustments. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at noise reduction and sharpening.